Hi, so it is Friday, November 13th, and my light is really crappy today. Sorry, I've been using it all morning for remote teaching. And I wanted to kind of check in because I didn't do a writing update last week because last week was a week with the election and whatnot. I'm a social studies teacher who's a little bit of a political junkie. Also, just in general interested in like the health and welfare of our country. So let me start at the beginning. So this is meant to be like a November NaNoWriMo check-in. So, ironically, NaNoWriMo itself, I'm probably going to be fine on. I'm probably going to finish 50,000 words because I'm already like at 22, and I plan to write tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. But listen. So I started off really well. November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, I wrote a chapter every day, and I wrote about 15,000 words that first day. The first 3 days. And then the last chapter, full chapter I wrote all at once was election day. And then I finished writing by 7:30 because I knew at 8 o'clock I wanted to be ready to start watching the returns. And then I watched the returns for 4 days because that was, like, they told us it was going to take a while, but I think that I had underestimated my, like, state of existential dread. And, like, I felt like I couldn't stop watching until Pennsylvania pulled ahead. And I very much needed that to happen. And then that happened Friday morning, possibly? Or was it Thursday? I don't know. It's like, it's all like it's a blur. But my brain just wasn't in it. And you got to feel creative in order to write. And so that was happening. And then also, so I'm a teacher and I have nieces and nephews. So my nieces and my nephews were out of school until October 19th. They are in 4th grade, 3rd grade, and 1st grade across 2 different schools. They went back October 19th, and then the district shut down last week because my middle niece got exposed in her 3rd grade classroom, and then my oldest niece got exposed by her teacher, as so did the whole 4th grade. So my nieces and my nephews all got exposed. My sister, my brother-in-law, mostly just the kids. And so they were on quarantine and had to leave school. And then, so we're just dealing with that. My poor niece had to have her, she's fine. She hasn't shown any symptoms. They both, were cautiously optimistic that that's going to be fine, except now, my niece has to have a birthday party, canceled, so, that's just crappy. But my sister ended up getting exposed a lot more directly than my nieces and my nephews. She found out that one of her best friends has it, and they didn't, she was with her last Saturday, and we're very anxious people. We're very, very anxious people. And so she's not sure if the migraines and the way she feels. So she had a test this morning, but she can't find out for a couple of days. So she's like, my brain's just crazy. I've been trying to think about why this time feels so different. Because I live in a state, I live in New Jersey, as you guys probably know this by now. And New Jersey got slammed last spring. Our school shut down. But I got very, very fortunate. One, we shut us down very, very quickly. We were shut down March 16th and we did not go back. And I live alone, so I was able to very much, and so did everybody in my family. We all just hunkered down and were able to have Mother's Day and kind of not normal life, but kind of we were able to stay together as a family. And other than 1 or 2 of my sister's friends getting a very, very mild version of it, nobody I knew had it. Nobody I knew got really sick from it. So I got very lucky in that sense. So I think maybe that is different from now, where I have entirely 3 of the most important people in my entire life have been exposed. And now I'm back at school in a district that doesn't feel like they entirely care about me. I think that's kind of messing with my writing in a way that I hadn't anticipated. And I think the reason why I didn't think it was going to bother me this much is because I was telling myself, you wrote 2 novels while this was all going on. I'm like, oh, no, I got to be more generous with myself, because what really happened is Broken Girl was basically done by the time we went out on March 16th. I had 3 or 4 more chapters, and I edited that. And if you guys watched the YouTube coverage, the videos I did for that, you guys know that was a stressful situation. I was stressed editing that because I was remote teaching and I was losing my job and then getting a new job. It was just, the editing process was not simple on that one. And then Mad World was a cluster crap from beginning to end. But this summer I did write a whole novel in 6 weeks, and why was I able to do that? Well, I was done school. I wasn't in the middle of everything. I wasn't teaching. The cases were down. We thought we had turned a corner, at least in New Jersey. We thought we had done everything right. And then I went back to work, and the cases started spiking again. In fact, it's now worse in Camden County, where I live, than it was in May. We have, in this week, broke our own records 3 times. And I don't even know what Camden's cases are today because our website hasn't updated yet. And my district there's an outbreak. Kids are being quarantined all the time. One of my students is having a test today. One of my students is having a test today, and she's on quarantine. So there's that. Like I said, my sister's been. This is all just to say that like I am not making the progress I'd hoped to make with everything, and I just feel really frustrated by it. So while I probably am going to cross the 50K threshold for NaNoWriMo, I don't know if I'm having that first draft done on November 30th, which is like 2 weeks from Monday. I think at this point, it's just not possible. And it's really frustrating because I love the story, and every time I write it and I sit down to write it, it's going well. Like, I love the story. I love the characters. I love the way it's changed because there are things happening, stories, like little tiny subplots I hadn't thought I was going to do just yet. But my brain is just sometimes the writing is an escape, and sometimes I can't quite turn everything else off to write. Flash fiction's been all over the place. The writing, I've written, 2 chapters in the last 2 weeks. When I should be closer to chapter, I should be around chapter 17 right now, and I'm on chapter 13. I'm 4 or 5 chapters behind where I needed to be by this point. So I'm going to see how this weekend goes. My sister said she's going to find out in a couple of days. I'm hoping that means by Monday. I finished my cycle with my students, so I don't have students starting Monday for the next couple of weeks. So that means my work was a little bit reduced. So I might be able to get back on track. I think I want to make sure you guys knew that A, I'm aware that I haven't really been writing. The flash fictions have been, 20 minutes long. I did manage some good cliffhangers, so, I think my readers don't like me very much right now. I toyed with putting one on hiatus, but I just didn't feel good about that either. So that's kind of where I am writing-wise. The pandemic, it's unfortunate. I live in a city. I just don't get it. And it's exploding in my city. We were at 123 in September, and we've got 100 cases since then. And that matters because my city is only it's 10,000 people. So, and a couple of those cases are people I know. All right, so let's talk about something better. Let's talk more about just what's going on with Fool Me Twice and how that's going. I don't think I have updated you guys in the entire month of November. So the last thing I wrote, I'm finally at the part of the story where Jason and Drew now know who they are. And something really weird happened when I wrote the last chapter. I wrote a scene between Drew and Curtis where I had Drew and Curtis earlier. Drew asked Curtis to go look into Andrew Kane for him before he knew that he was Andrew Kane. It was just a name floating around. And so I had Curtis bring back, a thing. And then I was like, something's really weird about the way I write sometimes. Is I can plan things out and then I'll write and then all of a sudden something will happen. And you're like, I wasn't planning that. And so I had Curtis find Drew's original birth certificate where he was born and Susan named her sons. She named her twin sons, Jason, and I think I gave him a middle name of Alan, even though he was renamed Morgan when he was named Jason Morgan Quartermain at that point. But when he was first born, he was Jason Moore. So I have him being Jason Allen, and then I think I gave Andrew a middle name of something else. I can't remember now. I think I named him. Oh, because Susan's father's name was Bert, so I was like, well, what about Albert? So he's Andrew Albert. So he's never had a middle name before. And then Drew kind of realizes, well, wait, I don't understand how this happens. Did Susan know she had a twin? So why did I end up in the group home? How does this happen? Where does the Franco, Betsy, Heather Weber story come into it? How does that work? Because Susan, so what happened on the show was Susan ended up winning a $1 million trust fund for Jason back. Literally, this happened, and she won this $1 million trust fund. And so, obviously, the thing is now, if Susan had known she had twins, she would never have given up a chance to have. She would have taken them for all they were worth. So, at what point did Susan lose track of Drew? How did Susan not have Drew? Why didn't Susan tell anybody about Drew? Because if she really wanted that money, she could have gone to Alan and there are things. So you have to kind of explain why Susan didn't know she had twins. And then I thought it'd be more interesting. Well, what if she did know she had twins? Maybe she had a plan. And I think and then I have a couple of flashbacks with Heather and Victor where Victor goes to kind of talk to her. So that's kind of an aspect of the story I hadn't planned on, where I'm doing a little bit more with the GH history. And that's always tricky for me because I wasn't alive in 1982. And of course, now I have to have it set in 1973 because Jason and Drew are a good 10 years older than they've been aged. So that's kind of an interesting thing that happened. And I sometimes I think I think I have too much Elizabeth in the story, and that's just because that's who I am as a writer. So like I feel like every 5 minutes I'm turning to an Elizabeth scene. So that's happening. I like it all. I'm not mad about it. So I'm just gonna write it the way it feels right. And if I have to edit it later, I will. Other stuff that's going well. I really like what I'm doing with Jason and Carly early on. There's a moment that I have at the end of the story that I hadn't planned on it when I was doing the original subplotting. But knowing now that I have to get them to this certain point on New Year's, I'm trying to figure out a way to build that up. So I just finished the scene where Christina raids Sam for filth about just, having an affair with Rick and like all the dumb shit she always does all the time. So it's weird. I don't know how to talk about the story because I feel like I'm writing it in spurts. Like I've been writing it now for 6 weeks and I only have 12 chapters. And normally when I would be at this point where I don't have that many chapters, I would think, well, something's wrong with the story, right? No, nothing's wrong with the story. It's 2 days before I started writing it. I got a full-time job and I had to create an entire curriculum. The world's falling apart around us. I think it's okay that I'm not done the novel yet, right? Like, I think that's okay. I think that as my production schedule gets pushed off a little bit, that's not that bad. I put out 2 full novels already this year. That is more than I have done in any year since ever. I don't know the last time I wrote 2 full novels in 1 year. Because I think I wrote a few words too many in 2014, but then I started The Best Thing, and I didn't finish that for 3 years. 2 years. I don't know. It took a while. Is what I'm saying. All right. I don't know what else to really say. Flash fiction is what it is. My plan is, so right now it's about 2:41. I have to go pick up groceries at the store at 5, and I'm going to cook dinner tonight because I have been ordering out all week because my brain has just been all over the place because, the sister just happened last night. And then it's just like crap at work. Like, this is not a good year to be a first-year teacher in a building because you don't know what you're doing. I don't have a classroom. So I'm on a cart, and my cart got stolen on Wednesday, and then someone had to get it back for me, and, it is what it is. And I think another one of my kids is quarantined. And it's not that I want to go out. I love being in the classroom. I just, I would like to live to see my pension, which I just got. Like, I got my first paycheck today. My first grown-up paycheck, although it's not really that amazing. It turns out, the more money you make, the more they take. So let's see. My plan is that I'm going to make dinner, and then when I come home, I'm going to write a little bit tonight. I don't know if I'm doing flash fiction tonight. I should probably do flash fiction before I go to the grocery store. That would probably make sense. I might want to update something I haven't updated in a while. So I don't know. I'm just trying to play it by ear and just listen to what my brain wants me to do. I don't want to force myself to write because I think sometimes when I force myself, I start to hate the thing I'm writing, and that's never a good thing for anybody. And the really good thing about Fool Me Twice is that I really am enjoying it, and it's nothing about it is dark and twisty. Like, the worst thing that I am writing about is that, they lost their memories and they have to rebuild their life. And, Franco's there, so he's just, trash. And I've really, no matter what, I tried really, really hard to write a more believable storyline where they break up kind of a little bit more slowly. I tried it. But every time I try to write Elizabeth and Franco in the same scene, if you are being true to who Elizabeth is as a character and as a mother, that man would be gone ages ago. I can't believe I'm setting a story in 2017. We're here 3 years later, and his brain tumor has come back and she hasn't kicked him out of the house. I'm tired, I stopped watching the show again, so it was that brief August where it was going really well. Let's see. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to write a flash fiction, probably not knowing when because I haven't updated that in a while and I left it on a cliffhanger. And I'll write a little bit of Fool Me Twice before I go to the store and a little bit later tonight. I'm probably not going to write a full chapter, and that's okay. I'm going to be really slow about how I do that. I am just going to listen to my own self. I'm going to write when I want to write and then try to get back on track. A couple of days we'll know. My sister will know. And then once she knows, I think this is kind of I am not leaving the house again unless I have to. I'm ordering my groceries. I'm just going to pick them up. I don't know if and when they're going to close us down in my district. They should, because we definitely have an outbreak of the students and we don't have enough teachers. But, nobody wants to shut down. Parents don't want to lose their babysitters. And that's not fair. I apologize to parents. It's just sometimes it does feel like they don't care about the teachers. And it feels like the district doesn't care about the teachers. It thinks they just keep giving us more work to do. Like they just changed the attendance again. Like I wish the worst thing in my life was that I couldn't write. Like I think what's more annoying is that I absolutely want to write, that I love the story I'm writing. I think it's more frustrating that I literally just can't. I don't have the time, and I literally don't have the mental energy. I think it's frustrating. I've never been in this position where I have everything but the time. I usually am missing the inspiration. I'm usually missing the creative juices. I'm not missing any of that because when I sit down to write, I can do a scene. I can do an easy 1,500 words of the story when I do sit down to write. I'm missing the stamina to actually sit down for 25 minutes at a time and just write. I think I just don't have that right now, and I don't know when that's coming back. And that's like super frustrating because I was writing for 3 to 4 hours this summer, and that's gone. And I was doing that until mid-September, and I just maybe when my sister gets her negative test result, maybe I'll start feeling kind of more into it then. When my nieces and my nephews can come out of quarantine, and maybe if we get to have a Thanksgiving dinner, because we don't have a big Thanksgiving. It's just my brother-in-law, my sister, her kids, and me and my parents. So it's just us, and we all pod ourselves away. So, all right, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thanks for anybody who was watching. I'm sorry this wasn't more like. Sometimes I do these. So usually when I do these Patreon updates, they are weekly, and I get into the weeds on the story. But it's been hard to get into the weeds on the story because I'm not sustaining the writing for very long periods of time. Like when I was at the height of writing Mad World and Broken Girl, I was writing like 25,000 words a week, and so I was writing a chapter a night. So I had a lot to talk about. I am writing like a handful of scenes here, a handful of scenes there. It took me like 2 separate days. I finished chapter 12 Tuesday night, I think, and I haven't touched it since. And I've had 13 on my calendar to do. I just haven't been able to open it up and get to it. It's like very frustrating, but it's 2020, so all we can do is put one foot in front of the other and hope for the best. When I find out if my sister has COVID, I think we can pretty much guarantee that I am not going to be meeting my deadline. My sister was the most annoying person that ever lived when I was growing up. But then she moved out, and it turns out I like her. And she's like the glue in our family. She has all the holidays. Her kids are like the most important thing in the world to me, and they've been around her, so like they could get sick if they're not sick from the school. And I just I don't know how useful. I'm just not going to be very useful until I know whether or not my sister's okay. I really wish I was the kind of person that knew how to shut things off and go and write. Like I know that there are some people in this world that do that, and sometimes I can. I haven't been able to find that button this time around. So I am going to focus on the things I can and hope for the best. I will check in with you guys when I know. All right, thanks. Bye.